Let's get back here where they started Dual Destinies. We're in the final case, my friends, and it's oh so spicy. Most trial sequences took us around 4 to 6 episodes, right? And we've been in this is our third episode in this trial at all, so we could be crazy close to the end of this. I'm not sure. I mean, like, there's still a lot of stuff that needs to be working out here, so I'm almost positive we're not going to get it this time, and maybe a bit more. And like I was saying before, it's possible that there's a day 2 to this. I hope not, but it is possible. I'm not sure I can maintain this level of tension for this length of time. This is bringing me back to, like, Justice for All levels of, like, my shoulders are, like, hunched, and I'm just like, don't mess this up! We were just finding contradictions in Blackwell's emotions. Let's carry on with doing that. Take a look at this. The noise level actually increased. He's lying himself all the way, every which way around. He went up. I've never seen it do that before. Prosecutor Blackwell is lying somewhere in his testimony. As a matter of fact, he's piling lie on top of lie in an attempt to make his claim sound more believable. He can only do that for so long, though. He's trying even harder to suppress his true feelings, and that's what's causing the noise. How in the world should I approach this? I can either use an evidence-based approach or if I can find a contradiction. Otherwise, I should look for an inconsistency in his emotions. There are no flaws in my testimony, and his boldness is prepared to give his verdict. Give up on this lost cause and let the law free me of these chains already. Objection! No. I don't think so. Not while I'm around. Now, contradictory testimony or inconsistent emotions. What should I tackle first? I'm thinking we carry on with the emotions. Okay, let's look for inconsistent emotions. Got it, boss! But if you want to try looking for a contradictory statement instead, just let me know. I can easily switch over. Oh god, I have to, like, determine when we're done here. Well, better do we do that anyway, because you don't lose health on these. I heard crying from next door, of course, so I guess as we alter his emotions, the testimony will change, and then we can put evidence on them. Okay, really interesting. I heard crying from next door. Of course, I was worried. These two emotions make sense. Info update. I hurried over and opened the door to the robotics lab. I guess surprise makes sense there, but wouldn't you also be sad to see a small child crying? But before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Cykes came in. You're less surprised about that than seeing Athena, though, which seems surprising. I refused to hand Athena over, so I had no choice but to kill my mentor. Do we have any thoughts about this now? If you see an unusual or out-of-place emotion, just point it out. Is there really inconsistency in his emotions, though? Press on like this for the moment. I still think I can find an inconsistency in his emotions. Let's press on. It seems weird to me that you're less surprised. Got it! Nope. Being less surprised at someone bursting in the door when you're comforting a child is totally normal. My apologies. Not being sad? Nope, kids crying isn't sad at all. So he was saying that the sorrow he feels at this point is because he thinks that Metis was coming to experiment on her. It's so weird how sharp the edge of her coat is on the graphic of the sword here. Anyway, sorry, that's not anywhere there. I assume it's just done like that so they can swap it out for a different one. I mean, like I was saying, there's no penalty for pushing on these, so we could just push on all 16 options here and see if anything else changes. Well, let's swap to testimony and just see if we can push on points. Let's try the testimony. Okay, let's compare the testimony with the evidence one more time. I heard crying from next door. Oh, I'm not allowed to push here. Oh, never mind. Crying from next door, of course, I was worried. I heard over and opened the door to the lab. Before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Cykes came in. So they're supposing that the door is closer to the chair? Oh yeah, okay, they're doing it so we can do this 3D effect. I had refused to hand Athena over, so I had no choice but to kill my mentor. Okay, I'm not seeing what we're supposed to see here. It seems like they want us to be dancing back and forth between evidence and emotions, finding inconsistencies. Okay, hang on. I heard crying from next door, of course I was worried. Meaning you were already in the psych lab. Alright. I hurried over and opened the door to the robotics lab. I don't know why it shows the chair here. Before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. I refused to hand Athena over, so I had no choice but to kill my mentor. He doesn't really address this bit yet. But you could have used the emergency ladder, I guess. Is that maybe what we're trying to get at here? No, that doesn't seem right, does it? The problem, it takes time to get it out of the window, and it's sort of taken her from you at that point. Well, Blackwell, I'm an attorney. Let's try all the emotions. You know what? The game lets me, so I'm gonna try his emotions and just hit all of them that look weird to me. We don't get bad endings from this. I'll try and keep it to the ones that I'm actually find weird. Maybe the sudden shock at finding Athena here. Oh, huge shock here. I guess you're saying that it's unusual that there would be that much shock just for seeing Athena in there, considering you already heard someone crying. Yes, didn't lose any health like an idiot there. Odd. Why would you register surprise at opening the door to the lab? Alright, fine. I'll explain if I must. What surprised me was Ponka. That toy figure attacked me. Dr. Sykes knew full well of my plan to rescue Athena, but she couldn't stand guard over her daughter 24 hours a day. So Dr. Sykes had Ponko do it? That's right. She ordered Ponko to forcibly remove me on sight. And we know they can do that. Thank goodness. I was pretty sure that there was nothing weird about nothing I could present evidence at there, so. That's right. She ordered Ponko to forcibly remove me on sight, so I slashed Ponko up with the katana that was there in the lab. But then why is there blood on it if the katana wasn't bloody yet? That rickety old puppet wasn't worthy of that fine blade. Mr. Wright, it's happening again. There's even more noise now. Because he just lied again. His ass off. We know for a fact that it couldn't have gotten the arm bloody if he cut the arm off then. It's at 100% now. What's going on here? But if we find an opening, he covers up with lies. We'll never get rid of the noise at this rate. It's pretty hard to keep telling coherent lies like that. His mind and will really are as sharp and strong as a katana. Alright, what should I tackle that first this time? Testimony now for sure. Info update. Ponko attacked me. I retaliated by cutting it into pieces. The hell you did because we found blood on its arm. Can I put this here? I had to be able to put this here, right? Because there was no blood on his katana at this, her katana at this point. It has to be that I can put this here. Please don't hurt me for this game. I mean, this just makes so much sense. Objection! Yes, thank God! Compounding lies with more lies is never the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. Take a look at this photo. That's the photo of the supposed moment of the murder, isn't it? Edward has been eerily silent during all this, but I guess he just doesn't have anything to add to doing that therapy thing. How many more times must I see that which damned me for my sin? The ironic thing is, I think this picture is actually going to be your savior now. See the bloodstain at the end of Ponko's arm where it was severed with the katana? I hope you aren't claiming it's the robot's blood, Mr. Wright? No, most likely the blood was transferred there from the bloody katana. The katana already had blood on it, so then it must have been the victim's blood. That's right. But if that's the case, we found a glaring inconsistency. You said in your testimony that you cut up Ponko and then you killed Dr. Cykes, but in spite of that, the victim's blood is already on Ponko's arm in the picture. What? But that couldn't be! Exactly. In order for the blood to have transferred from the sword to Ponko's arm, the victim must have been stabbed first before the robot was slashed. In other words, Prosecutor Blackwell, your entire testimony is nothing but one giant ball of lies! Ugh! Tell the court the truth, Prosecutor Blackwell. Now! You have no idea what you're doing! His voice, there's so much discord. I'm hearing not just one or two, but a bunch of rampaging emotions here. It's hard to describe. It's like a violent whirlpool or something. Happy we're trying to absolve him. Sad this happened to Athena in the first place. Angry at whoever actually killed Metis. Phoenix, right. You will pay for this. Never have I been forced to reveal so much, but the rest I'll take to my grave. Prosecutor Blackwell, you are on the witness stand. You are obligated to tell the truth. Isn't that the rule of the courtroom? All these complex emotions, they seem to be flowing from one source. I think whatever he really saw that day is what's causing these feelings. We're gonna try and figure out one of these symbols is wrong. Eek! Out of control emotions, all of them! Oh my god, that's a lot of blinking. Following the sound of crying, I opened the lab door and then... Info update. I saw it. That terrible scene. It's gotta be here, the one, right? Poor Blackwell was traumatized to hell and back as well. Robotics lab, Ponko, Athena? Well, I guess I don't die here at all either. Actually, let's check the other ones because I'm going to sound such a place. But before I could leave Athena there, curse my luck, Dr. Cykes came in. I had no choice but to kill my mentor. I mean, Dr. Cykes would be causing strong emotions here. But this is new. He never said I saw that terrible scene before, and that's very inspecific, so... What is it, like he saw Ponko killing his mom or something? Her mom? Ponko? I don't think I got it. The root cause of all these emotions is Ponko! I'm actually not getting any particularly big reading there, Mr. Wright. Guess that's not in that. What could have caused Blackwell to react with all these emotions at once? Probably more like Athena then. It's either... Wait, if you can tell which ones you're getting strong readings from, why don't you just tell me, Athena? Got it! When you opened the door and saw Athena, you became overwhelmed by your emotions. Isn't that right, Prosecutor? You should know better. And though it's pathetic, I admit I'm terrified to speak of it. Prosecutor Blackwell, Miss Cykes is innocent. I will always believe that with all my heart. Can't you find it within yourself to believe in me too? I mean, you did beat me like 6 times earlier in this very game, so maybe. Athena is innocent, huh? Can you honestly say that you believe that to be true, right, Dono? I give you my word. Now tell me what you really saw when you opened that door. Ghost you! Phoenix, right? You saw curse me, Phoenix? Oh no. You were going to see the scene with the huge pool of blood. It was a tragedy. One I'll never forget. We're going to see we'll see Athena standing in the middle of the pool of blood, like just looking at Metis all panicked. When I arrived at the lab, Dr. Cykes was already dead. She was lying on the operating table, while the bloody katana lay on the floor. Standing between the two, covered in blood, was Athena. She smiled, with a far-off look in her eyes, as she sweetly said, "Info update. Something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her." I can understand that traumatizing you, man. That's what I saw. And now you have it. The truth that you so desperately wanted. I mean, if anything, this, I would say, absolves Athena more. But let's break this down, sure. No. Prosecutor Blackwell finally tells the truth, and this is what it is? It's beyond devastating. I tried to take my mother apart. I No! Ah, yes, M rating. So it was me. I'm the one who killed my mother. Athena. But to fix her, I think we already know that Athena didn't know the difference between robots and humans well. So to fix her, she obviously wasn't trying to make things worse. She thought she could help. Athena! As I said, Wright, the truth isn't always pretty. Murder, disassembly on an operating table, a scientist using her daughter as a guinea pig. Sadly, it appears that my theory was correct after all. Objection! Objection! Oh, that's right, I thought that was his objection. Objection! It's true that Athena didn't like her mother's research, but you dare cast aspersions on my mentor by claiming Athena was used in such a manner? Dr. Cykes could be awkward with people, but she loved her daughter with all her heart! She loved me? Your mother hated to see you suffer because you could hear the voices of people's hearts. She wanted to set you free of your pain, so she worked tirelessly on her research. Do you remember those headphones you hated so much? Yes. My head hurt every time I wore them. No, Athena, it's just the opposite. They emitted sound waves to nullify emotional input from the voices of people around you. Your power was much stronger than it is now. Than it is now. And those headphones were what enabled you to carry on with everyday life. No, that can't be true. Then, why would I have done something like that to somebody who loved me so much? Her love for you was real. That I can guarantee. That's why I knew that what happened had to be some kind of mistake. I couldn't let you be punished for it. So you took the blame yourself. You and your mentor are more alike than you know. Pongo was a witness, so I put her in the case and held Athena close and vacated the lab. I threw Pongo away in the boarding lounge trash chute, and I hid the case in the space undergrounds. It would seem that we now have all of the facts of this case. I don't know why, but when he said he threw Ponko away in the trash chute, I suddenly remembered Aura's nickname for Klonko, which is Hunko Junk, and I'm wondering if somehow Klonko was the one there in reality. Anyway, it would seem that we now have all the facts of this. You seem to well enough on facts of this case. No, hold it, not yet. It can't end like this. Objection. Do not disgrace yourself, Mr. Wright. The truth has been revealed. It wouldn't be the first time. At first, I can handle being disbarred again. I got to learn piano. It wasn't all that bad. I got a daughter out of it, too. That's a weird thing to say. Or are you the type of man to turn your back onto things that disagree with you? I'm not. But this... I can't give up now. I have to say something, anything, even if it's a bluff. I've always managed to pull through that way in the past. I have to make it work. The defense is prepared to present evidence.
Mr. Wright.
Yes, Athena?
It's okay. You can stop now. I don't want you or anyone else to suffer any longer for my sake.
Athena, what are you saying?
I killed my mother. That's the truth. It's just like Prosecutor Edgeworth said. We have to face it no matter how much it hurts.
I refuse. I absolutely wholeheartedly refuse.
I admit my guilt. But could I please be granted just one chance to tell everyone what I recall?
It appears Miss Cykes is much braver than you, Mr. Wright. What say you, Your Honor? Well, that was never in question. In light of her courage, will the court give Miss Cykes the opportunity to confess? I mean, they've both been through a lot. Just don't compare their trauma, Edgeworth.
Very well. Then if you would, please take to the stand, Miss Cykes.
Can I have Widget for this, by the way, in case your emotions are discordant?
Thank you for letting me do this, Prosecutor Edgeworth.
Also, wouldn't I have noticed your psyche locks break if that were the horrible untruth we'd uncovered? I was standing right next to you and all.
And thank you, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Blackwell, for letting the truth be known. Now we can finally move forward, and everyone's suffering can come to an end.
My suffering will never come to an end if you get executed for this. I hope you know that.
Athena. Prosecutor Blackwell will be cleared, and the dark age of the law can come to an end.
Yes. Admit your guilt and bring everything to its conclusion.
I killed my mother. My memory is still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands, and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers. Your Honor, please find me guilty.
I dare say, these are all memories that no one but the murderer would have.
Thanks, Edgeworth. You're helping.
I see. Thank you for your confession. I believe this trial has gone on long enough. But before we conclude, does anyone have a counter-argument?
I do! Objection!
I do, Your Honor. Mr. Wright!
But, Mr. Wright, why? I killed her. I remember it now. Any counter-argument now is pointless.
Objection!
Don't tell me you've forgotten one of the basic tenets of lawyering. Always believe in the client to the bitter end. Athena, you are not a murderer. Objection! I said that you never change, but could you have actually regressed in these 8 years? I won't stand for your childish emotionalism getting in the way of the truth. Emotionalism? Don't lecture me on the matters of the heart, Edgeworth. Because I can see straight into a person's soul. Those psyche locks are still there. The truth hasn't been revealed yet. Knew it! I knew it!
I did a little research. I looked into those special psyche locks you mentioned, Mr. Nick. Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself.
There's still a chance. Somewhere deep in Athena's heart, there might still be a memory that not even she knows about yet. It might be like looking for a grain of sand somewhere in the cosmos, but still. Funny you use that word. That memory might contain a new fact that could prove her innocence.
As long as we don't traumatize her. I mean, I guess traumatizing her is better than her being executed, but it's still not great.
I hope for everyone's sake that you are not just bluffing, Mr. Wright. Now then, is there or is there not a problem with my Cykes' confession?
My memory's still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers.
Oh, yeah. There was only blood on the blade. Thank you for replaying that one. I totally missed that the first time because I was freaking out. Is there ever?
There's definitely something wrong with her memory of the event. I can just tell. If there is a problem with the confession, please move it to this court now.
Take that!
Isn't that the katana the defendant used to kill the victim, Mr. Wright? I respectfully and vehemently disagree, Your Honor.
But I remember it! I remember holding the weapon and getting the blood on my fingers!
That's exactly my point. If the blood really did get on your fingers while you were holding it, there should be blood on the handle. But please focus on the handle of the sword. There's not a trace of blood on it. And therefore, this is clearly a contradiction of the facts.
You're right.
Oh my! Why was that like that?
Objection! The defendant must have simply confused a portion of her memories. She mentioned it was hazy to begin with, and we can't mull over every minor detail. I'm a defense attorney, mulling over little minor detail is kind of my thing. Objection! But she also said there's no question I remember it, a fact we can't ignore. In that case, why don't you explain what this contradiction with her memories means? Yeah, if you're gonna say there's no question I remember it works for the murder thing, then it has to be there's no question I remember it for the blood too. You can't have just cherry pick it. Gladly! Just give me a sec to think of something. I want to say that Athena didn't stab anyone, but she said it herself that she remembers the feeling of committing the act. Maybe she stabbed a robot? Think, Phoenix, think. What could the contradiction with Athena's memories mean? The defendant used a different weapon? Well, no, that she'll be the killer. The blood was wiped off the weapon. Well, none of those are great for her. Was there blood on the handle of the knife? It's kind of hard to tell, but it looks like no. Like maybe she stabbed someone else who was trying to kill her mother? Oh my god! What if it was Terran? And she stabbed Terran way back then, got his blood on, like, in the arm or something. Got his blood all over it. And then Terran stabbed, Metis. So Athena has the memory of stabbing something and the blood running down her hands. But it doesn't look like there's blood on this handle either, does there? But it could be on the red part, I guess. Or on the other side. We don't get to examine it from all angles in this one. And we only lose one point of health here anyway, but we want to keep as much of it as possible. Blood was wiped off the weapon. I mean, that's pretty hard to do without a trace. And we have no evidence of that. The defendant used a different weapon. We know at least there's another knife in consideration here. Both of those still make it sound like Athena stabbed someone, though. This only says that Metis' blood was on it, right? Oh, it's all coming together. If she did use a knife from the toolkit on the floor, Athena used a knife. There's one missing. Athena used a knife from the toolkit on the floor to stab Terran, who was attacking Metis. Used a different weapon. Used the knife. The Cykes said blood flowed down under the handle, but the katana's handle is spotless. So doesn't it follow that the defendant must have used a weapon other than the katana? What are you up to this time? Okay. This is it. This time I've just found just the thing to end Athena's nightmare for good. The weapon that took Dr. Cykes' life was the katana. That much is for sure. So if I can show a possibility that Athena didn't use the katana, it could help me prove her innocent. A different weapon, you say? What weapon would that be, exactly? Oh, right. Of course he would ask that. I can see you're floundering, Mr. Wright. Did you speak without thinking again, as always? How does he do that? But I can't back down. Not here, not now. That's right, I did. Because it's so obvious it doesn't require any thought. What did you say? Okay, so maybe that was an exaggeration, but there has to be something. Was there some other bladed weapon in the robotics lab that day? Maybe there's something in one of the crime scene photos. Wait a minute. There is something! There's a high probability that that was in the lab. I don't have that particular weapon here in evidence right now, but I do have a piece of evidence just like it. Alright, well, not necessarily this one, but other than the katana, this is another blade that may have been at the crime scene. Take that! Oh, that's the murder weapon in the Clay Terran case. Yes, this is the knife that took Mr. Terran's life, but there must have been a knife just like this at the scene of the crime 7 years ago as well. Toolkits containing utility knives like this ones are issued to Space Center employees, and a robotics lab especially would naturally have one of these around. Objection! But besides the katana, no other bladed weapon was found at the site. It was in the investigation report, if you didn't know. Objection! Of course I knew that. Once he told me just now. But Ponko was carried away. You could easily have fit a knife in there and thrown that down the trash chute as well. And here's something else you already knew. There was a toolkit at the scene, but it didn't contain any blades. Here's a photo of its contents. Yeah, but there's a clear gap. I mean, look at it. How dense are you? You're right, I don't see any kind of bladed tool. Fine, but isn't there something odd about the design on these handles? Therefore, there was no other bladed weapon in the room. Oh, the design of the handles that I wasn't paying attention. Were they white? Objection! I disagree. This toolkit contained a knife. And what proof do you have of that? Don't tell me your eye for art is failing you too, Mr. Edgewood. You're the last person in the world who should be criticizing my aesthetic sense. No, you're simply watching out for your ocular health. Please proceed, Mr. Wright. Oh, it says it spells Gaxa. Oh, I see. So they mixed up the order of them. I guess just because they were being lazy. Notice that the handles of each of these tools have a sort of design on them. I wasn't even looking at the handles earlier. I was just looking at the gap. So this looks like part of the Y. So if this is the G, and then this is the other part of the G, it should go wrench, this thing. Allen key, is that what you would call that? Then it goes to... Ah, but that shouldn't all be red, should it? Oh no, the A is just red, right, okay. Anyway. Notice that the handles of each of these tools have a sort of design on them.
Oh, I see that they do. But what significance does that have? It's clear that one of these tools is missing from this kit. If we rearrange the tools in a specific pattern, we might be able to tell which part of the overall design is missing. Is that the theory your pitiful sense of aesthetics helped you come up with? Edgeworth, just let it go, man. That's hilarious. Show the code then, if you would. What pattern or design would we see if we were to arrange the tools? Oh, sorry, I almost just clicked the knife again. Gaxa, take that! And what design is this supposed to represent? The Gaxa logo, Your Honor. It's all on all the Space Defender's documents and pamphlets. As you're aware, Gaxa is the program that operates the Cosmos Space Center. Look at how brightly the Gaxa logo... Sorry, boss. That's under my throat. Look at how brightly the Gaxa logo shines in the sunlight above the entranceway. I really dig the stars and rocket motif it's got going. Gaxa, huh? Isn't that the new name of the Federal Space R&D program? Oh, I think I see it now, but... Yes, with just the tool shown in this photo, the red A part of the logo is missing. And this is where the murder weapon from the Terran case comes into play. If we were to place the utility knife in the open slot, we can place the logo. It would complete the Gaxa logo. So it would! Then that means, even if it's not this particular bloody knife from Terran's case, there was a knife missing from that case. Admit it, Edgeworth. My aesthetic sense is keener than yours. And while you're at it, admit that the weapon Miss Cykes used could have been this one. I don't think we need to go after his aesthetic sense that much. His suit looks pretty nice. His old one was a bit loud, but... Order! Order in the court! Miss Cykes confessed to having a memory of stabbing the victim. Admittedly, Miss Cykes most likely did stab someone using the utility knife. However, the weapon used to kill Dr. Cykes was the katana. Therefore, the act of stabbing that Miss Cykes remembers couldn't be that of Dr. Cykes. Very well. Let's suppose for a minute that Miss Cykes did use the utility knife. Tell me, how does that change anything? Come again? What if the katana was only being used as a decoy to conceal the true murder weapon? What if the real weapon that took the victim's life was the utility knife? Don't be ridiculous, or are you changing the premise of your entire argument? I'm merely offering a hypothetical situation derived from your logic. Miss Cykes could have put blood on the katana to make it look like the murder weapon, and then concealed the knife on her personage until Blackwell carried her away. That does clear up the contradiction between Miss Cykes' memories and the evidence. Not to me it doesn't. If, in fact, the murder weapon is a utility knife, then fate has dealt you a cruel hand. But you have just proven the knife's existence to the rest of us with your own logic. Objection! The prosecution is attempting to lead the court. Objection. You're the one attempting to lead the court, Mr. Wright, by forcing us to forget the facts of this case. Need I remind you that there were only 2 people in the lab at the time of the murder, and that the defendant herself recalls stabbing someone with her own hands. No. It matters not whether the murder weapon was a katana or a utility knife, as long as we know that the victim and the defendant were the only ones there. You cannot escape the fact that it was Athena Cykes who killed her own mother. I don't believe it! Why? Why does this keep happening? Every time I find a contradiction, it vanishes and the suspicion keeps coming back. It's almost as if... You're finally starting to get it. Your contradictions keep vanishing because the charge is true. And the suspicion keeps coming back to the defendant because that's where it belongs. Phoenix Wright. When will you open your eyes and accept the truth? Yet, not yet, is where I was going to end that sentence. I don't want to believe it. It can't be true. But what if... Mr. Wright, you fought a good fight. I think you've done all you can do. Don't give up now! You just said yourself, Phoenix. Where's Apollo in all this, by the way? He better come back and bust us out. He's long overdue to come in, kick down the door, and help us here. Come on, Phoenix at the end of a rope. Phoenix is at the end of his rope. Apollo, get in here. Is giving up really the only option? No. Snap out of it, Phoenix. What's the matter with you? Giving in to doubt. I can't look back. Forward is the only way to go. No, Your Honor, not yet. It isn't over yet. Right. I can't lose sight of what's important. I believe in Athena, and I'll always believe in her to the very end. The defense lawyer never gives up on his client. I have to pick myself up and stand for him. Make that brain of yours work, Phoenix. If I don't see a way, I'll just have to go back and look for one. Time to rethink this case thoroughly. Oh, are we doing this now, are we? Apollo isn't even here yet. I can see the fact that Athena must have stabbed someone with the utility knife. This must have been what Ponko witnessed as Athena's hug. But she said it was Metis, unless there was someone behind Metis. Prosecutor Blackwell didn't see the knife at the scene. This means that someone must have removed it from the lab before he arrived. Who could have taken the utility knife from the lab? Metis Cykes, Athena Cykes, someone else, because those two were still in the lab. Had it been someone else. I'm thinking Terran, a third person was at the scene. If I trust in Athena, then I have to conclude there was a third person at the scene. But according to Ponko's testimony, Athena and her mother were the only two there. So then how did this third person manage to escape Ponko's detection? I know. This person must have fooled Ponko's facial recognition virtue by covering their own face. The person hid their face. But wait a minute, Ponko had a heartbeat detection system too. Even if they covered their own face, Ponko would have still detected their presence. But she wouldn't have been able to tell who they were. Wait, that's it. The culprit could have covered their face and then pose as which person to avoid detection? Metis, I guess. Because Phoenix is now stipulating that the hug he witnessed was Athena stabbing someone else other than Metis. So Ponko was just assuming it was Metis. Because they were hugging, I guess. Pose as Metis. By wearing her jacket! And that's why the slash is in her coat! Because Athena stabbed whoever was wearing her jacket! If the culprit posed as the victim, that would explain why Ponko thought only she and Athena were there. All they had to do was take advantage of Ponko's basic recognition features. The culprit used this in order to pose as the victim. Her jacket! Because they can read the ID. It all comes together now! The culprit could have posed as the victim by wearing her jacket with the ID tag on it. But that still is the heartbeat detection system. How did the culprit get around that? It wouldn't have worked if Ponko could detect the real Dr. Cykes' heartbeat too. So does that mean that the real Dr. Cykes was already dead by that time? If that's the case, then who did Athena stab? The real culprit. Athena stabbed the real culprit! That's it! The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Cykes, it was the person who murdered her and then pretended to be her, the real culprit. Look at my eyebrow! Now that Mr. Wright has finally finished thinking, let us bring this to a swift end. Please give us your verdict, Your Honor, so that we can move on to hostage negotiations. You are absolutely right, Prosecutor Edgeworth. I hereby— OBJECTION! I didn't say I was finished. I was only pausing for a second because I realized something so shocking I had to take a break to digest it. But now I know for a fact that Miss Cykes is innocent. But Ponko saw me. She witnessed the moment of the crime. Yes, Ponko did witness something. She saw the hug. In other words, the moment you used a utility knife. But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother. What are you saying, Mr. Wright? The answer is simple. The person Miss Cykes stabbed was a third person posing as Dr. Cykes. What? I've sort of been feeling my way around this in the past episode, in this episode. Objection! Do you really expect us to swallow that, Mr. Wright? According to the robot's statements, there was no third person there. Did you really think I wouldn't see through your ludicrous grab for time? Objection! After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed. Don't you know by now that this smile of mine means I have absolute confidence? Ha! Make that pose all the time, regardless of the facts. Ponko's strange malfunction.
Mr. Terran, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay?
Mr. Terran? But that's Apollo you're talking to. Oh, this hunk of junk here is mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo is possessed by Clay's ghost. That was another case of mistaken identity caused by a jacket ID tag. All because Klongo couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to that eye patch. Like Mr. Edgeworth said, a mask can nullify the robot's facial recognition. And then all the person would have to do is wear a jacket with the victim's ID tag to pose as her. Objection! And there was a theater mask there, or they could have just used the napkin, I guess. Of all the ridiculous theories, what good would a silly disguise like that do? Have you forgotten the robot also has a heartbeat detection system? If there was a third person at the scene, the robot would have detected them. I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, but that doesn't count for much, I'm afraid. Because by that time, Dr. Cykes' heart had already stopped beating. What? So does that mean... Yes, Your Honor, the person Miss Cykes stabbed. This third person who was posing as Dr. Cykes is her mother's real killer. But that's... Impossible! No, it isn't. The evidence. Look at the evidence. It's not impossible.
A mask! The person I stabbed was wearing a mask?
Order! Order in the court! Miss Cykes, did you say something?
A mask. Yes, I remember.
Athena, what is it? Is that a psyche lock smashing?
I remember a man with a mask. How could he? What did he do to my mother? My head.
Miss Cykes, are you alright?
No!
Oh, it's shaking. Black psyche locks. They're breaking. Because the person with the mask looked like they had Blackwell's coat. Is that what is going to be the thing here? You can tell us, Athena, it's okay.
It's all coming back to me. Everything that happened the day my mother was murdered.
They're gone. The black psyche locks are finally gone. You didn't really stab your mother, did you? It's alright, Athena. Just tell us what you saw that day.
I was drawing a picture. When I was done, I went to show it to my mom. I opened the door, and then...
It's alright. I'm right here. You're safe, Athena.
She is on the floor by the workbench, with the katana sticking out of her. There was a handkerchief over her face, but I knew it was her by her clothes. And there was a man there.
A man!
Hold it!
Quiet, Your Honor!
Go on, Athena. He tried to attack me. In a panic, I grabbed the knife that was there, and he dodged it first, so I only got his clothes, but I tried again.
And it all comes through now. And this time you got him, didn't you?
I did. I remember it clearly now. The knife went into the back of his hand. Then he kicked me and I passed out.
Utility knife updated in the court record. The murder weapon in this case, Athena also used one of these to stab the Phantom's hand during this incident 7 years ago. The incident 7 years ago.
What if it is Terran?
I mean, that would explain a lot of the confusions here, right? Terran puts on Metis' jacket to pose as her, and that would make him the spy. But he was so young then, and he lived in that place at the same time as Apollo. I mean, that's an answer. It's not conclusive, but it would make a lot of things make sense because that would explain why only his blood was found on the knife in the end. If whoever the killer in this case was stabbed him with the same knife, his blood just got on it twice.
When I came to, my mom wasn't moving. I had to do something. I had to fix her, I thought. So I asked Ponko to move her to the operating table. Something's wrong with Mom. So I'm taking her apart to fix her.
So that's why she said that. Your Honor, as you can see, the defendant has just given us critical new testimony. A man was there before Miss Cykes arrived. A man who covered the victim's face and put on the victim's jacket. This man is the real culprit. Miss Cykes, do you have any idea who this man was?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
A few moments ago, Miss Cykes mentioned a mask. Athena, can you tell us anything else about that?
Yes, the mask. It was my mom's Japanese theater mask. I think it was the one hanging on the wall of the lab, which was left there after the case, so we should find
some DNA on it.
Oh, this mask hanging here on the wall. It was kind of spooky, that mask. My mom used to tell me that a no mask even has the power to turn an ordinary human being into a phantom. A phantom?
It would seem that a new suspect has emerged. And that means that all suspicion against Miss Cykes has... This is going to be I guess.
Hold it!
You see? This is precisely why I can't trust the court system. Athena Cykes is the murderer. I won't accept any other verdict. Miss Blackwell. This is not good. A new suspect. Where's the proof this person ever existed? Who says it wasn't all just a dream in the little princess's groggy little head? Ugh. She's right, we don't have any hard evidence of this masked person's existence. Objection!
Thank you, Mr. Wright. I'll never be able to repay you for all you've done. But I'm fine now because I can say with certainty that I didn't kill my mother. Athena, I'm so glad for you. More and more memories are coming back now. So I'd like to say one thing if I could. Paco came to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. to recharge. I went to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything. I see where you're going with this. If Mommy Metis was really the killer in disguise. Right. Then he must have come to the robotics lab before 2 p.m. Do I have anything here in the evidence that can help me find this person who came to the lab before 2 p.m.?
Nothing springs to mind. Oh, weird. They're doing this. He brought that point out so nonchalantly, so it makes it seem like to me like this is supposed to be an easy one. But I actually have no idea. The toolkit on the floor maybe indicates it was a technician? Or, well, no, we don't have any. I don't know. We don't even have that in the evidence. Well, I guess whoever's blood is on. But we don't have that knife. Are we saying the Hope capsule because this was very shortly before this capsule was launched into space? So it would have had to be someone who had access to. No, what was it? Well, it was sitting there in the room. I don't have the foggiest idea what he's talking about. What the scallop? Eventually, someone came to the lab before 2 p.m. Are they just saying because there will be blood on the knife? That'll tell us, because we don't exactly have proof that this is from that particular case of tools. My two best guesses are the knife or the capsule here, but I'm not confident in any of them. I don't want to be presenting here until I am confident. Someone was in this room with a jacket. No, that's not what they're getting at, is it? When was this photograph taken? For the newspaper here. Whoa. It was whoever was working on this. Because this was here, this is like the same day. The newspaper clipping, that photograph, they were working on the probe there in the same day as the launch, which was this day the day before the launch, which was the day of... Oh. And that doesn't really say that they came to this room at 2 p.m. Unless they want us to say this because, like, it was Blackwell? But... it does say Blackwell was the only one to pass through at the time of the crime. But there was also an entrance from the window. Oh, well, the journalist was obviously around. They were taken by the first person to discover the body. Well, that's not before 2 p.m. Sorry, I don't know why this is the hardest one in the world for me. It can only be one of these 13 things. I would say the knife, except that's only with my crackpot theory that this is the same knife between both incidents. And we don't have any proof of that. Well, whoever it is will have a wound on their hand. Or a scar. But, I mean, this photograph over here was taken... It was Hugh O'Connor, because he got his arm stabbed. No, sorry. I mean, this was taken before Menace was killed, so it's a non-point. It's not. We won't be able to find anything in that picture. The thing that's bugging me out about this is like when it gets in certain situations like this. It's like, what you would realistically do in this situation is check all angles. What were the fingerprints on the katana? What were the fingerprints situation like on the knife? Can we prove that this knife was the same as the other one? But because that's not an option, we just have to pick one definitively and say it was this. This is the piece of evidence that helps us. That tells me that there should be some big glaring way to know by looking at one of these pieces that unequivocally it and not the other 12. Not one of the other 12 is important. And I don't see that yet. Well, it's not the attorney's badge. I don't see why it would be the cross-section. The knife makes sense only if if we could find the original knife and or if this is the same knife between the two. At which point, Taryn's blood being on it fingers him as the person. Don't see how the pamphlet helps. The capsule... I mean, this is still going with my crackpot theory that the moon rock was what got stowed into the capsule. Because the killer couldn't find a better way to get it out of there. So they just put it in the capsule, which they then launched into space, and then that's why they come back for it 7 years later. By the way, where did all the photographs on the bomb go? With the obvious moon rock in it and stuff. Was that just like a red herring? HSU originally had 2 earrings. They stole one. Holy crap, I'm so stumped here. Because like the thing is, I could probably get away with my top 5 guesses. One of them is probably right. My top 5 guesses of evidence would be like knife, capsule, photo of the crime that shows that journalist might have been there, and then earring. And like maybe I'll get it right at one of them, but I really, really would rather get it right with like minimum, like maximum one mistake here, because I would be willing to bet that we'll come up against another wall like this soon enough. So I just have to think. I mean, even if we don't have the knife, there's a stab wound in their hand, so we just examine the hands of everyone who was connected to the case? That seems the most solid to me. Because the Hope capsule thing is all just speculation on my part, that the moon rock was there. Please don't be the first damage we're taking this! Take that! This piece— no! This piece of evidence will reveal the identity of the person who came to the lab. Will it now? Then reveal a way by all means. Oh, how about if we team up for this, Mr. Edgeworth? No. How about you, Your Honor? What do you say? Certainly, I'll help you. I'll help you to remember to think before you speak. But there's a stab wound on it, tightened by the lemon juice and paper cut. Could an image of the culprit possibly have been captured anywhere? Oh, okay, well thank God he just told me. Yes, there was an image captured by the journalist. That was my other theory. This piece of— no, what the fuck? An image of the culprit. God damn, it's no video. That's not an image, that's a video. Your phrasing is freaking me out. Oh, damn, I'm gonna lose all my health on this. And then we're gonna get a bad ending, because like, oh, shit. Oh, God. Could an image of the culprit possibly have been captured anywhere? I mean, there is a captured image. Oh, God. There are actually a lot of these which are images that are captured. They're not just saying that it was she got killed by the disassembling table, are they? I mean, that's not a culprit, that's a weapon. So no. I don't see any scars on any of their hands. Or anything that would indicate that any of them— oh, unless they mean Ponko. No, but she stabbed— the Ponko's arm was busted way before. It is also weird that the spacesuit is so obviously in frame. I have sort of neglected to point that out earlier. Why would it be unrealistic to just look at check for DNA samples on the mask and the coat that got slashed? Oh shoot, I think it was my earlier idea that they were saying the culprit is probably because there's a photograph here, and this was someone who was working on here and stuff. Oh, but I'm not certain. A photo of the people involved with the launch. I can't believe we're gonna lose it all on this one point. It's so dumb. What could it be? How many images can be captured? Well, I mean, there's only one other one that has pictures. Well, it's one of these two. No, but... well, it's video showing the corridor to the crime scene. He was only the only one to pass through at the time of the crime. Oh, they're gonna pull another aquarium on us where it's... but the time before the crime, someone showed up. If it's gonna be that, I'm gonna be so miffed if they pull that again on me. This is Prosecutor Blackwell leaving the scene after the incident around 3 p.m. What I'm wondering is, does the video show anyone else passing by there before then? I'm done. I hate this game. They did it twice! I fell for the same trick twice! If you did not show me the rest of the security footage, I can't have been expected to use it as evidence! You stupid game! I thought when you said the time of the crime, you meant like within the 5-hour period. Why would we not worry about other people going to the room before the time? This is obviously something that 8 years Attorney Phoenix would have asked the second he saw the footage. I'm so angry. But whatever. What I'm wondering is, does the video show anyone else passing by there before then? I don't see anything in the investigation report. It looks like they didn't check. What? How was I supposed to know that? Just as I thought. So if we rewind the footage and go back to around 2 p.m., or even earlier, we should be able to see the true culprit leaving the scene. Oh, very well then. What? 2 p.m. is the time of the crime. Am I missing something here? Cause of estimated death time of death between 1 and 3 p.m. So 2 p.m. is unequivocally the time of the crime. So there's no rewinding. This is what it says, is at the time of the crime. So if we're rewinding 2 p.m., we're covering what they've said, which is at the time of the crime here. I don't get that. I can't believe they did that to me twice. You're very well done. Let's take a look. There. Please stop it right there. That could be Clay. It's just like you said, there is a man leaving the scene of the crime. Miss Cykes, do you remember this person? That's him. I'm sure of it. He's wearing my mother's jacket. I did, but what I really wanted to see was her jacket. That jacket on display. That was Dr. Cykes's. Can you see it? There's the slasher man with the utility knife that day. Okay, at least they didn't bad ending us a yet for that one. Just brace myself, meditate for a moment, It's fine. Clearly they thought that was a reasonable thing. Fine. Fine. They wouldn't have done it twice if they didn't think it was reasonable and cool to do. I just can't believe I fell for it twice. I did not even say that when we got the security footage. I was like, whoa, we're not gonna pull more video nonsense and be like, and lie about what period of time. I mean, that doesn't make, they just said they would run it to 2 p.m., right? How could 2 p.m. be anything but the time of the crime when the estimated time of death was between 1 and 3? I would have obviously assumed that we had checked all that because it says at the time of the crime. If they meant we only checked the 5 minutes where Blackwell was, it should say, the 5-minute portion we cut out shows Blackwell leaving. This is just a lie. Like there's no way around this being wrong. But we made it through and we're not dead yet, so I should be really counting my blessings for that. I should not be steaming and frothing with rage. So that's all for now for this time on Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. Hopefully next time they won't cheat! Nah, really, it's my fault for falling for it twice. Fool me once. No, but you know what? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Actually, shame on you both times for being just a bastard of a game. That's alright, though. It was, you know, not quite as egregious as the aquarium one, I guess. This was channel's getting more Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Thank you so very much for coming. Hopefully I'll see you around. Admiral's gonna be out of here now. Peace! Another 12 charge. We love them. That's all the treasure. Good. So all we gotta do is now is get to the end, which is where exactly? Up on this thing here. So does this move when you get in it, maybe? It does not appear to. Oh, this one's going down. Can I recall the orb of it to make it go back up? I didn't even notice this was here. I sure can.